I've been wanting to try to discuss for a few days now. I just hadn't had the will to sit down and actually get this thing started, I guess. So this is kind of a freestyle session, just letting my thoughts flow off of a topic that I was wanting to discuss a few days ago. Yeah, what's up, Roy? Um, what's up? Just trying to get my thoughts together. Wally, how's it going? Hey, Candy. Travis, what's up? Um, just relaxing for now. I'm probably gonna, take a quick drive. AJ, Holly, how's it going? Hey, Craig. Pretty good, pretty good. Um, so, all right. The title was Flat Earth and Society's Disconnection with Nature. Hey, Ron, what's up? Aldreas. So, I'll try to keep my mind right while I'm driving so I can try to chat about this. I'm going to roll the windows up in a little bit. I just have to handle something real quick. Well, it's a beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. Tar Heel. It's good. Um, you know, here, this isn't even the topic, but I mean, what you know about these 5G towers? What you know about that? You see that thing? I've been over here quite a bit, and I can tell you that tower wasn't built like it is now. It looks like they've made some additions to this tower. It used to just be that one spot, the gray right there, that stuff on the top and the stuff on the bottom, that's new. That must be that 5G. Yeah. There's said to be enough power going through these towers to microwave 5-mile radius or so from each one. Creates radiation that's very harmful to the body. I've watched a few videos about the 5G smart grid and listened to a lot of talks about it, and yeah, that's just what it is on that. 5G, as far as that whole technology, is going to make us feel like it's leading up to the whole smart grid system, the social crediting system, things like that. It's not that technology is a bad thing in itself. It's just that the way that technology can be used can be an issue. You know, paralleling the whole gun control discussion. People talking about, we need to have gun control rather than have, an armed society. Basically trying to take guns away because they're saying guns are bad, without discussing any of the particulars concerning why these individuals who go about supposedly committing these atrocities, why they do what they do. Like, what are the similar characteristics? What's the family life like? I mean, these are studies that anybody should do, like junior detective stuff. Instead of getting mad at guns, how about we analyze all the mass shooters and get psych profiles and start lining up the data to come to another conclusion? I mean, wouldn't that make a little bit more sense? We'll just, hey, Roxanne. So yeah, there's that. But I'm just rambling on that one. So went from talking about those towers to that. Anyway, what I was wanting to talk about was our kind of disconnection from nature as a society, and how modern day colonialism is pretty much the root of why we've gotten to where we are as a society. I mean, like where we've kind of fallen asleep at the wheel, where we've been drugged to a point to where we can't really focus anymore, where we've allowed this fiat currency system to lull us into a point to where we end up doing things that we otherwise would not do, because we need these rectangular pieces of paper to pay for things that we should be provided with anyway in any sort of rational thinking society. So I was watching this nature documentary, and I believe it was about how animals migrate from the north to the south and from the south to the north. It was, outlining whales, different types of birds migrating, fish. And there was a sequence, a feeding sequence, where the dolphins, sharks work together, the whales, the birds, where they all work together seemingly. On this, what happened during this sort of feeding frenzy with all these animals, this interspecies feeding frenzy, what happened there was the sharks and the dolphins would bump into a large group of fish, and they would start to swim circles around the fish, large circles at first, and then as they started to box all the fish in, the fish kind of turned into this large ball of moving fish. It's like the sharks and the dolphins circled in so tight that they had the fish looking like a ball. So then, when the sharks and the dolphins did that, and they had the fish in kind of this vortex, the sharks and the dolphins would then start taking turns going through the middle and eating fish. So a shark goes, the fish is swirling, a dolphin goes. Shark, dolphin. Like, okay. So, all the while, while that's going on, there's some birds out on the beach. Like, I don't know, maybe one of the scout birds flew out over the water and saw that there was activity out there. Lots of fish jumping near the surface, went to alert his friends, or just did one of those bird calls, as it were. So the rest of the birds start to flying around. Now these are a special type of bird. These birds can actually dive into the water and swim the way that they're adapted. So a couple fish come back up to the surface. Another bird comes down. The sharks and the dolphins, they're still making their rounds. And this all just continues. Birds are coming in, shark, dolphin, and the fish are starting to, they're starting to thin the herd. So what happens at that point, when everybody's gotten their fill, a freaking whale comes up through the middle, gets a big mouthful of fish, and then everybody just scatters out. That right there, that's enough to have you ask a few questions. Okay, now I can see animals of the same species having the ability to communicate with each other. I can see that. But as far as, do sharks and dolphins get along? Who told the birds about this? It's like what happened, it was this, they were all connected. And they were all connected to nature. They're all subjected to that collective consciousness. You can call it whatever you want, but there's something that connects them on a more than physical level. We'll say metaphysical, extra physical, perhaps, whatever you want to call it. But the animals all knew what to do and how to do it, and they all worked in sync. And I believe that happens because animals, by virtue of not having jobs that they have to go to, by virtue of not having constant marketing telling you to go buy things that you don't need to impress people that you don't like, by virtue of them not having to pay rent, bills, for credit cards and all that, for not having to scrape by day to day, not to be stressed out and distracted by so many things. because animals aren't distracted by those things, because that doesn't take away their attention. That leaves those animals, in essence, constantly connected to nature. Like they're all connected to whatever that is. Because I mean, how do they communicate amongst themselves? But beyond that, the whole aspect of flat Earth, globe Earth, you know, upgrading society, things like that, it all goes back to a sense of materialism and a disconnection from nature. Because when human beings were back, you know, connected to nature, like, you know, the ancients, you can call them the tribes, where they do the rituals and all that, and they honor the earth. They don't seek to, they live in harmony with the earth. They don't destroy the environment. They work within the parameters of the environment. The ancient cultures, they do the same thing, the exact same thing. Ancient cultures used to work in conjunction with nature to create a sort of symbiotic, systemic sort of living system. And then what happens? And what happened in so many places across the world, as a result of this bloodline, or the 13 bloodlines of the so-called ruling class, the descendants of these people go from place to place, finding that there are people who already live in these places, but they want this spot. So they go about murdering, raping, killing, torturing, extorting in so many ways these people. They would kill the men and boys, whoever didn't flee, rape the women, and replace these people. And this has happened over and over and over. And the replacement for that connection with nature is shopping malls. It's you know, these so-called advances in technology. It's reality TV. It's the fiat currency system, whereas people used to work together. People used to like trade things. They would barter things. There would be people who have a certain specialty who could lend their services as payment for whatever, things like that. But this whole currency system comes along with the whole colonization of this flat Earth, and ultimately, I think the whole plan, at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to move. That's not gonna work. Man. I'm thinking that the whole plan behind this thing, this whole New World Order agenda, is to keep us all as a collective on Earth disconnected from nature. Now, while all that's going on, or while all this stuff isn't going on, the dealing with the daily stress, the routines, the crap that we deal with, all these crooked politicians and, you know, chemtrails and all that, you know, dealing with our issues, whatever gets us fired up. When we're not dealing with whatever stresses may be coming as a result of the powers that shouldn't be, we're in a position where we can be more lighthearted. If you can imagine what type of person you would be if money were no object to you. Like either money wasn't a factor, or perhaps you had enough money to where you were like, yeah, sure. You would likely be more generous. We're talking about people with souls here. I'm talking about us here. People with souls, not the ones in that, you know. Look, I believe that it's human nature to do the right thing. I believe that it's in nature to do the positive thing, the thing that's going to uplift your fellow man, the thing that's going to, you know, it's going to be about generosity. It's going to be about compassion. It'll be that decision, love versus fear. It'll be stuff like that, and that will be the way that we would operate if we were not impeded by those things. But because we're disconnected from that. It's the stress. The whole currency system, it takes us away from our own human nature because we want to be good to each other typically, but we're forced into these positions where we have to hold on to what we have, so we can't be as generous as we would like to be. It's another disconnection. Other attributes, we would probably work together. If those things weren't an issue, we would be able to cooperate. I mean, studies have been shown that the operating system preferable in nature is cooperation over competition, or so I've heard. But because we're taken from these positions where we can walk barefoot, that we can collect rain, that we can interact with nature as a result of colonization across the world, we have lost our connection with nature. You know what I mean? I was thinking about this the other day. I just kind of had to walk it back a little bit, walk it back a few steps. Like, what is this all about? And that might very well be it. Like, at the end of the day, I mean, here, what's the next thing to get us even more disconnected? We're disconnected from each other as a species, and disconnected from nature. Now, the next step in that, I mean, the extreme obviously will be what they're edging towards now is, artificial intelligence, transhumanism, all that. Just, trying to blend consciousness, blend that which is human with that which is machine in order for them to, reanimate their consciousness into a robotic body so they can attain immortality some way or another and rule over those in the world who otherwise could not achieve their status, in air quotes. But I think we would all be able to work out better together. I think unity would be more of a possibility if we were in touch with nature. And now, so I gave that example of the animals. I gave that example of the animals and how they were all able to work together as a demonstration of how they're connected with nature. And now, let's talk about us. How we're connected. So, a long time ago, years ago, I used to listen to Abraham Hicks. It was a lady, Esther something or another. I forget. That's gonna bug me now. Anyway, so I used to listen to them, and what happened was, it's gonna bug me. Esther Hicks, that's right, Jerry and Esther Hicks. I used to listen to them, and while I was listening to that, I kind of got into my own ideas about spirituality, and just thinking about
some stuff that was talked about by Esther while channeling. And one of the things that really made sense, and she does hate flat earthers, I think, but one thing that really makes sense or made sense was uh, she used to talk about this inner guidance. Like we have this guidance system built within all of us. Now, if you think about it, we all do, but don't acknowledge it most of the time. So watch this. Okay, so you wake up in the morning and there's this voice in your head saying, okay, what time is it? All right, so you look at your phone, see what time it is, and you start making a decision. Am I going to be able to sleep in for a few more minutes before I get up and go? There's this voice in your head asking you this. Okay, you make the decision to get out of bed. Okay, what am I going to wear? Ooh, put this on. You meet somebody somewhere, and you get a bad feeling from them. This voice or this guidance system of yours gives you a bad vibration. How many people here, I'll raise my hand here, how many people here have been at a point in their life where you met someone, you got a bad vibe, you got a bad feeling from them, and then you went ahead and engaged with them anyway, and everything just went horribly wrong? Anybody? I did. I have. I've done that. Anybody? Yes? Yes? Thank you. Thank you. I was thinking I was the only one in here. Me and Roxanne. No. But look, so we all have gotten that. So have you ever like sat down and thought about this? What is that? This voice that's talking to you like all day, it's always telling you stuff. Go here, go there. You meet a person that you aren't digging. You get this bad vibe from them, and then you later find out that crap was just wrong. It's your intuition, right, Holly? So you'll sit here and you know that you know it is what it is at that point with that person. And still you go find out, and what you look back later, once you analyze, and this is what I was trying to figure this out the other day. When you look back at all the stuff that voice tells you, you can call it the Holy Spirit, you can call it God, you can call it your inner self, your guidance system, whatever you want to call it. Think back to all the stuff that dude told you and the direction that he was trying to take you. Wasn't it always right? Wasn't it always right? When it said you probably shouldn't go out tonight. You probably shouldn't go out tonight. And then you go out anyway, and then things go sideways. When you met that person, and then you look back and you're like, man, I should have listened to that. When you walk into this situation, and you just feel like, I don't know if this is where I need to be. And sometimes you listen to it, and sometimes you don't. You know you need to, look, it's Saturday morning. Your eyes pop open at 7:15. The voice starts talking to you immediately. Immediately. Get out of bed. Start cleaning up. I mean, it's just telling you little stuff. Man, get up. You lay down till about 7:30. The voice, as soon as you open your eyes, get up. Get up. So that's what happens there. What's up, Huey? Think back to that voice telling you all these things, giving you this guidance every day, and you'll look back and see that most of that time, that voice was absolutely right and was only trying to lead you to a good place. I believe there was this book. A lot of people bought this book. Some, I don't know, starts with a B, I think. There was this book in there. It was full of proverbs. I forget the name of that book in there. Anyway, let's substitute a little bit. Trust in your voice. Trust in the Lord. You want to say that's the Lord? That's says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. What if those particular scriptures was talking about that voice that you hear from every single day? But because we're so inundated with entertainment, because we're so distracted with stuff going on, because we're so chemically dumbed down with entertainment on TV, music at the wrong frequencies, false flags, the day-to-day, paying bills, getting up, having to go places you don't want to go to interact with people you don't want to interact with in order to get money to pay for things that you otherwise could probably do without, or that you shouldn't even be paying for, because you are a citizen of Earth. Fruit grows out of the ground. Out of the ground, inside of that fruit are seeds. I'll tell you about that later, big guy. Those seeds come out of that fruit. That fruit hits the ground, decomposes, those seeds go into the ground. From those seeds, maybe some trees grow. And those trees grow to drop their own fruit. Like, why are we paying for fruit? Nature provides these things, but we're disconnected from that. We get our fruit from these companies, these factories and all that, because their bogus educational system told us that, you know, our thing is to go get a job. They didn't teach us skills like growing our own food, healing ourselves without big pharma, living debt-free, balancing a checkbook, changing the oil in your car. They didn't teach us crap in school, and giving us fake food too. So what happened? They, through the educational system, also it all operates in keeping us disconnected from nature. All of it. We can't connect. We're so distracted. We're so caught up in this and that. We're so dulled down, dumbed down, entertained, just short attention span, to a point to where we hear this voice constantly and we act like it's not even there, because we don't have time to just sit still and acknowledge that you're being guided. We're all being guided. Man, what if, now this might sound crazy, what if there were a society that from cradle to grave, they all respected that voice. They all led from their heart. That might very well be what the world was at some point, or at some part of the world. No, I'm not saying we're all gods. Not at all. I'm saying we're all connected to something that gives us all guidance, that leads us to want to act from a higher, more compassionate part of our soul. Where is it, man? You said that still exists. Yeah, in the flat earth community. But, you know, I mean, still not sure where that exists, but that sounds like a nice place. That sounds like a really nice place.
So,
yeah, what I was saying was all that right there was that was just some stuff I was thinking about. That was just some things I was thinking about. Just, you know, we don't have time to sit still and hear that. This is why people go out to the woods. This is why I was going out to the woods. I was going out to the woods every weekend for a little while. Back in December, you can look at some of those videos. I had my hoodie on. I was doing talks from by the lake, doing my van videos from by the lake. I was out in the woods by myself. We all need to get to a place where we can just be quiet for a little bit, to be at peace. Just to kind of calm your mind and get some things moved around and see what it is. All right, that's all I'm saying. That's all I got to say about that. I think it'd be a good thing. And I believe that what this is about. When people say, you know, what difference does it make whether or not we're being lied to? I mean, it's just that you gotta walk it way back. Okay, we're being lied to about, you know, the shape of the earth. Okay. Well, why would they do that? Well, why wouldn't they do that? It's all about control. They can't control people that are mentally free, that aren't going to acquiesce to slavery. They used to have issues with that. There were slave masters who would basically kidnap a large group of people from the same kingdom, and they would have the hardest time keeping those people from that same kingdom in slavery because they understand that they come from nobility. They came from a vast city with art, you know, with culture, with, you know, with their own cultural heritage. They're proud of where they came from, and they all know where they came from. So it was really hard to keep them in captivity like that. So what happened is there was one guy who got really good at slavery. I forget his name. I've watched so many of these videos. There was one guy got really good at, you know, handling being a slave master, and he was giving instructions, and he said, wait, what do you mean you're letting all these people from the same colonies stay together? You can't do that, because they all remind each other where they came from. What you have to do, you have to separate them. You have to you have to separate them. So when mothers would have a child, they would immediately take that child and put them on another plantation. So the parents couldn't pass on the legacy to the child concerning where they came from. Who's to say that's... I mean, that sounds like it could definitely be part of the story of how we all got to where we are. Just the same as they disconnected those people from each other, so they couldn't pass down their knowledge, their legacy of them remembering who they are. They were able to disconnect them from that and have them feel like they are less. By them separating us, putting us on a spinning ball as a speck of dust in a vast, endless galaxy, they make us feel innately like we are less than what we are. Because they put us in a position to be less. They set up these societies for us to fail. Nobody makes it out alive, but the way that we're here, the things that they're doing, I'm still trying to get a good look at the whole grand thing And even still, even if I could imagine all of the sick, disgusting things that these people are into and what they're trying to do to us, I still couldn't imagine it properly. But we're gonna figure this out. Yeah. Years ago, I don't think a lot of us knew how bad things are now, or thought about how bad things are right now in comparison to how things were. Like mid 90s, I wasn't even thinking this far ahead as far as this is from 1998 to 2018. This is the year 2018. And 20 years ago, things looked a whole lot different. You were cool if you had a pager in 98. Anyway, but because this society has just gotten so out of control, because these people who have wiggled themselves into these positions of so-called authority, they don't really have any authority over us. It's all just perceived authority in actuality. They've gotten us into a fine mess. They've gotten us into a fine mess, people. All the stuff that's going on, all the stuff that they're trying to do, the depopulation agenda. Why hasn't anybody bulldozed the Georgia Guidestones yet? I mean, somebody like just take a tank out there and just not the. Anyway, I'm wondering. I'd be very surprised if someone did that. I'm not by any ways and means endorsing such behavior, but still, I don't know, man. It's like they're trying to do us in from so many different directions. And I was just thinking about that like all day. Because as soon as I woke up this morning, I look up and I see that they were spraying like all night. The sky was all messed up today. All day. Like I didn't see a real cloud all day. It was all chemtrails. All of it. These little hazy clouds. That gets me into another thought. Now I'll share that on a video. I'll put a video together on it. So that's all I got, folks. That's all I got. Just wanted to share some thoughts on that. I hope that made sense. You know how basically what I'm saying is the system, the way that the system is built up, as it's progressed over time, is slowly disconnected us all from what ultimately connects us, and keeps us disconnected by all these distractions. That's basically all I was saying. Trying to sum it up. But let's keep doing what we do. Let's if you can be active in whatever way, shape, or form, by all means do so, because these are seemingly desperate times. Actually, it seems that way. It's really weird what's going on right now. It's weird walking around and seeing people back on flat Earth, by the way. It's really weird seeing people so brainwashed that they will argue with you that the Earth is actually spinning 1,000 miles per hour. Like, there is nothing going on right now. It's calm out here. There's no wind. There's not even a light breeze. It's just real mellow right now. But these people are saying that we're supposed to be spinning over 1,000 miles per hour. And that some way or another that the air on Earth is different from the vacuum of space, and that there's like no barrier, but our atmosphere keeps us separated from that, so there is no wind and we don't feel any motion. but they still talk about the Coriolis effect. I'm like, so wait a minute. You're telling me that you think that hurricanes and tides and all that are affected by the Coriolis effect because the Earth is spinning, but none of us can feel it. It's spinning, we just can't feel it. It's spinning over 1,000 miles per hour, but there's no wind. None of us can tell. We all just kind of got used to it, I guess. Somebody actually said that. Like, you know how, like if you were born on a train. Born on a train? We're not on a train. We're on Earth. What are you talking about? You think that... I was like, dude, you really think that we can get used to spinning over 1,000 miles per hour? Sometimes, man. Sometimes. I love people. But for somebody to even argue something so absurd, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, we're flying through space, but we see the same stars every night. Ridiculous. Yeah, there's curvature, but you just can't ever see it. That's ridiculous. You think there are people thousands of miles beneath your feet walking upside down? Yeah, that's ridiculous. So according to the globe, you and I are actually at like some like 60, 30 degree angle or something. Because out in space, you know, north is always pointing this way. The Earth is tilted 23.4 degrees, spinning that way on its axis around the sun and all that. So north is up, I guess, on a globe. So relatively, you think that we're staying at like what, a 45 degree angle? Yeah, that's ridiculous. What? But that's how brainwashed people have become in this society. That's how brainwashed they've gotten. To argue with you about things that if they tapped into their own common sense for just a minute, for just a little bit, just think about it. Water doesn't flow uphill. There's no curvature. The Earth isn't spinning. The same stars cannot be fixed above our head every flipping night of the year for all of our lives if we're moving through space. That doesn't make any sense. Where's the edge? Anyway, but that's how brainwashed people got to be, and that's what gets on my nerves. And I used to, I wouldn't say I like totally believed it, but once I figured out what this is as far as the flat Earth goes, once I figured that out, I was like, all right, you got me. Good job. Good, well played. Well played. You had me going with that globe stuff. Okay, you got me. I was just going with the flow. I was more upset with myself for not figuring this out because I had never like actually sat down and thought about it. And I think that's honestly all it takes. That's all it takes. If somebody actually sits down and thinks about this, go research the globe. Look at all this ridiculous stuff you got to believe if you think you live on a spinning ball. This guy's creeping around the van, doing some reading, I hope. But anyway, before I start rambling again, I'll go ahead and cut this one off. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and drop these clothes off. Actually, I went to the storage unit and got a big bag of clothes I'm about to go take up to the Goodwill. So that's gonna be my charitable donation. I'm about to go do that like right now. So yeah, that's what was going on. I drove from my storage unit over to the Goodwill because I just got finished getting some clothes. So all right, that's all I got. Flat Earth Sub Genius, searching for truth. Christina Lee, thanks for coming by. Oliver, or Craig Oliver, damn good. So I'm on Lionel. Thank you. Yeah, Lionel blew up seriously over the last few years. All right, not no worm. Earth now detoxing. I hope so. Holly Hughes, Tar Heel, focus on me. Focus on you too. Okay. Macchiata, Jr. Max did level truth. Allah. What's up? All right, y'all. Daniel, Sly Steve out there, AJ. All right, everybody. You all have a good night. Did I tell you about the I got a date for the not holiday, the hot air balloon ride. It's May 6th, so she'll be doing live streaming from a hot air balloon on May 6th. So if you want to hang out, then I'll be sure to put that up there if I'm authorized to do so. But if I am, I'll be doing a live stream hot air balloon May 6th. All right, so that's all I got. All right, everybody, be good to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay flat. See you next time. Thank you.